Evergreen Culture Artifact Speech. What you're eating are called collard greens. Collard greens are a loose-leaf plant of the same family as cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. And if you're enjoying this fine cuisine, I think it'd be nice of me to let you know that I've made it myself. All it would take to make greens are, of course, 2 or more bunches of greens, seasoned, and 30 minutes on the stove. Many ethnicities have their own cultures and styles of making food. African Americans have a cuisine called soul food. I feel it's important to educate people about soul food because not many people know about it unless it's amongst other African Americans. Aside from the stereotype that all black people eat chicken, there are many more other dishes that we make that we prepare and consume. By learning more about soul food, you have a better understanding of the African American soul food culture. First, I will discuss the history of soul food, and then I'll discuss how I identify with it. Soul food is an ethnic cuisine term traditionally prepared by African Americans of the southern states. While the civil rights movement and the black national movements were occurring in the 1960s, African Americans started out to reclaim their part of American culture, with using terms as soul brothers, soul sister, and soul music were starting to take hold. It was only a matter of time that soul food would be a term to describe the food that African Americans have been making for generations. It has been said that Amari Baraka, a poet and an African American civil rights movement, had first used the term in 1962. The style of soul food came from the slavery days, while the African Americans only got the unused and undesired parts of the meat, while the white slave masters got the best parts of the roast and the ham. African slaves began to cook with all types of greens, like collards, mustards, turnips, and even dandelions. The slaves were given pig's feet, pig ears, chitterlings, which is the pig intestines, and also ham hocks. To flavor the recipe, they used to add garlic, onions, sage, and bay leaves. Early soul food recipes used rabbits and raccoons that they caught themselves. Soul food originated in the South. Even though soul food originated in the South, it is all over the world today. From places like Popeye's Chicken, Louisiana Chicken, Church's Chicken, to upscale fine dining establishments are in every African American community today, especially in cities with large black populations, such as Chicago, New Orleans, LA, Washington, D.C. I just discussed the history of soul food, and now I'm going to tell you how I identify with it. Standing in the kitchen, watching the women in my family cook is how I learned how to cook for myself. As a child, I had imagination like no other. I remember grabbing a couple of leaves off the tree, putting them in a bowl of water, and lighting it. My great-grandmother walked outside and saw what I was doing, and I was immediately punished. After my butt wasn't so sore, my punishment was to cook in the kitchen. Cooking in the kitchen was not something that I wanted to do. But it would take too long, my feet would start to hurt, and I was yelled at, being told to do 2 or 3 things at once. Needless to say, I was in trouble a lot, so that means I was in the kitchen a lot. I learned how to cook black-eyed peas, which is really they're not peas, the green peas, they're actually a brown type of pea with the black in the middle, and they usually cook with rice. I learned how to cook chitterlings, which I said before are the intestines of pig that have to be cleaned thoroughly, and then slow cooked for 4 to 6 hours. I learned how to cook greens, of course, cracklings, which are the skin of pigs that are either deep fried or baked by oven, and fried ice cream, which is basically cookies coated that have been fried with ice cream. Growing up in an African American household, whether you're a girl or a boy, you learn how to cook either voluntarily or out of punishment like I was. Now that you have a better understanding of the African American soul food culture, I hope that you will take it to heed and maybe want to try it someday. First, I discussed the history of African American culture, and then I discussed how I identify with it. Even though I learned how to cook from being in trouble, my great-grandmother and my grandmother told me one day I will thank them for it because the only way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Thank you.